Okay, now that I've logged in to my AWS access, and you may see a screen like this, you may see a screen like this, you may even see a screen that has mostly just lists of stuff on there. Either way, what we want is Autodesk, or Autodesk, or Autodesk. Any of these will get you where you want to be. So I go into Autodesk. It's going to take a minute to load up. And look, there's my new design. First thing you want to make sure you're going to do, go to your data panel. Make sure you go to the home icon. You're going to start a new project. In this case, you should be saying something to the effect of getting started with Fusion, or Fusion 360 first project, or something along those lines. Then when we come into our actual design, first thing we're going to do is say save. We're going to give this a name. I'm going to tap on my keyboard up here to pull that up. And my name should, the name of my file should include my name, whether it's my first name, my initials, just my last name, something to give an indication of what we're looking at. Should have underscore's a lot easier with a normal keyboard. And then this is going to be object 2. So now I can get started. When I'm getting started, the first thing I'm going to do is create a sketch. So this software, just like a lot of other modeling software, is built on the idea that we'll start with a sketch, a rough idea, and then we'll generally, gradually add in more and more details until we get the design exactly the way we want it. So I choose a sketch, and it does not matter which of these 3 planes that we start on. Remember, red, green, blue. Red and green. Red is your X, green is your Y, blue is your Z. So I'll usually go XY is the most common one, with Z coming out towards us. So now I'm also going to take, and I'm going to pull up my Schoology. Oop. Come on. No, you come back. Drag my Schoology over. Scale it way down. So now I can see the object that I'm building, as well as my Fusion all in one spot. The downside with shrinking this down is all of these palettes across the top have now condensed down to just a single icon, but I can still access everything just by going under this Create tab or the Modify arrow, and all the tools that I need are going to be listed inside there as well. So I need to work on breaking this geometric design into the smaller geometric shapes that we can locate inside there. The easiest and most obvious being our circle here, which has a 1-inch radius. That's what this plus sign marks the center of our circle, and R tells us that we're measuring a radius. If we had a full 360 degrees and we have a full circle, now our measurement would be in diameter, but we don't. If we are at 359.999 degrees, we're still going to use radius. So I've got this 2-inch radius circle here. I've got an overall large rectangle. And then I've got this smaller rectangle that sits on top of our circle. The first 2 things I need to figure out is, 1, what is my total length, my total width of my object here. And the biggest mistake most students make is, okay, 1.75, my radius is, okay, that's 2.75, and that gets us to 4. No. You got to remember this radius is 1 inch, so we're 1 inch from the outside edge of our circle to the center, and another 1 inch from our center to the other edge. So we're 1.75, 2.75, 3.75, 5. So we've got a large rectangle that's 5 by 3.5. So I'm going to come over here to my Create panel. And I'm going to go into my rectangle, my 2-point rectangle. If you have a keyboard, using that keyboard shortcut of R makes life a lot easier for you. So I am getting ready to draw my first drawing. My first click is going to be here in the center. And I'm going to open up my keyboard so I can enter in some sizing. And unfortunately, when this shrinks down, I can't see in the box that I'm typing in, so it's going to take some time to make sure that I can go kind of back and forth. But let's say 5. Whoop, wrong way. So that's got to be my 3.5, not my 5. I go back, 3.5. Tap down here, and that should be 5. Oh, it didn't take, so that's fine. All I need to do is click on my measurement here. Scroll that up. Oop. Double click. Keyboard, 5. Keyboard away. Looks good. Right click and say OK. So now I've got my base shape to work from. Move this down so it's in the middle of my drawing area. Okay, so now I need to draw my circle and the rectangle to go with it. Those are both, again, going to live in this Create tab. So come on down, grab my circle. Most commonly, we're going to use this center diameter circle. So what that means is on my first click, I'm determining where I want the center of this circle to be. My second click will be how wide, the diameter of the circle. So I'll guess somewhere roughly in this area here. One click, there's my center. And my diameter, I want 2 inches. Get close. And then I'll come back, dimension it, and say that you should be 2. Right click, OK. So I've got my 2-inch diameter circle. I've got my box. Next thing I need to do is I need to draw this rectangle that's going to live with our circle. I could use the keyboard shortcut R, or I can come in here to the panel and just select it that way. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. So I need a rectangle that's going to go 2 inches across and 1.6 inches tall. That's not playing nice, so I'm going to cancel. Just right click and cancel. Create rectangle. Select and delete this. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, give me some room to work. Right click, cancel, great. Create rectangle, 2-point rectangle. Now I'll add my dimensions to it. So my bottom, I want this to be 2 inches. And right click, OK. And my other edge, and I should be able to right click and have, yep, repeat sketch dimension as an option. This is what we call a context menu, so depending on what I am doing, it will change what options I have around, but repeat sketch dimension is usually going to be an option on there. 1, 2, grab my keyboard. Notice I'm not clicking in here. As long as this is all blue, anything I type is going to wipe all of that out. 1.6, return. Keyboard gone. All right, so I've got my rectangle, I've got my circle, and I've got my large rectangle. Because I still have that tool option on right now, cancel. Because I have dimensions for both the vertical and horizontal, I can grab on any part of this and click and drag, and it's going to move the object. If I only had one of the two, and I were to click and drag on a side that's not confined, it's just going to move that. And grab the center of the object. It's going to move everything with it. So I like to... nope. And still 1.6. 1 point Y. Keyboard gone. All right, now what I want to do is I want to connect this square, this rectangle, and this circle together. And I know that I want this bottom corner in line with the center of this circle. So I'm going to click and drag. Escape, cancel. I'll click and drag and bring this down here. And all I need to do is I need to come up to my constraints. These constraints are what we use to lock things into place, to add those more confirming details. And I want this to be tangent. Tangent means a straight line is coming in contact with one single point on the circle. So I want to say, undo. Tangent constraint, line, circle. Just slid right over, line, circle. And it's saying that's over constrained. Why is it saying that? Because if, with this having to be 2 inches and the sizing all being the same, there's only one size that'll fit over here. At 2 inches wide, I can only tell it to be constrained on one side or the other. Now I need to make sure that I move this piece. And I want this to come in contact with the top here. We're going to hold off on that. So now we're going to come and grab our dimension tool. And I would say I want the center of this circle and exactly 1.6 inches away from the top edge of this rectangle. So I grab a dimension tool. And I say center of the circle, top edge, pretty close. Not bad for an eyeball guess. 1.6. Now our circle is in position. Cancel to turn off my tool. 2 more things I need to do here. I need to lock in this rectangle so it lines up with my top edge. Notice I get that little green bing. That tells me that it's now locked in and connected to that top edge of the box. There we go. Okay. So I've got most of my drawing wrapped up here. Minimize my browser. Need to do a couple of more dimensions and then we'll be ready to extrude. So I should be 1.25 from the outside edge to the edge of this part here. So 1, 2, 1.25. There we go. So that means this should then wind up being 1.75. So if I go to put that dimension on, it should come back and give me a message saying that I'm going to be over-constraining the document. And there it is. And there it is. It's what's called over-constraining the sketch. And what that means is I've already told the software that it's 1.25 from here to here. It's 2 from here to here. And the whole thing is 5. So if I'm 3.25 to here, this has to be 1.75. And if I were to try and put anything else in there, it's going to confuse the software and cause problems. So put this out of the way. Next piece to do is go into my solid screen. Nope, that's not what I wanted. And I want to extrude. So it's going to be living under this modify tab. And cancel. Go to the solid. Nope, I'm going to create. Dang it. Keep clicking on the wrong spot. Sorry. All right, now for part 2, we're ready to move some stuff around so we can see what we're doing. Zoom out a bit. Right click. Okay. So I'll go to my Create tab. No, I don't want to revolve. Thank you very much. Create. Make sure you have solid selected on the top. So be careful with that. We want extrude. And now we need to choose what parts of this we're going to use. And you'll notice by hovering over this main box, it knows to find the inside, that enclosed geometry for all of this. If I wanted, I could do a lot of other smaller portions, but all I want is the big guy. And I want that to go 3 inches. So, keyboard, 3, return. Now when I go and look at it from the home view, boom, there's my object built and ready to go. Now it's time to jump in and get ready for the next part, which is hiding in here. I'd like you to work on this guy here, keeping in mind that, again, this is a 1.5 inch radius on this side. Because this is not labeled and they look to be about the same, it is a reasonable assumption that this is also a radius of 1.5, which means they're 3 inches all the way across. Pay attention to the fact that this guy here is 3/4 of an inch or 0.75, whereas this one on the bottom is a full 1 inch. You'll need to create a new part for this. So I need to make sure I save this part. So you have a little asterisk on the side here. That means something has changed since the last time this file was saved. Click Save. Ding, check mark, nothing there. Now I know this part is good to go. I can say, let's create a new file, a new design. And I'm ready to start building this part here. If you have any questions, please let me know. My job is to make this a little easier for you along the way.